Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. It's been a very productive day for me, and I'm glad to be here. I know there are not many people here right now, but I'm going to ask for a sound check when you do get into the room. Wow. This is the show I was going to do last night, but I decided to do the other one after Neil Frazier gave his presentation. But this one on another side is just as important. And I wanted to tie some things in that I was thinking about and I think are very important. Behind the selfie smile, the hidden toll of online comparison. I'm going to start out talking about mass shootings. Well, rightly so. Welcome on in, my dear. First one here. Wow, we got to catch up. Yeah, I'm laid back. I did my early morning appointments today. And last night, just like the song, last night I couldn't get to sleep at all. I couldn't for some reason. I'd sleep 30 minutes to get up. And well, I was a little tired when I came in. I went straight to bed. So I don't know how late I'm going to be up tonight, but I'm just glad to have this show set up already. And you can pretty much tell the banner doesn't have anything to do with the actual mass shootings. But when you look at the title, Behind the Selfie Smile, the hidden toll of online comparison, well, look at the banner. One person is in a selfie where she's saying, I just bought a brand new car, and she's smiling. The next person, right next to me on the banner, says, I just received an eviction notice. Now, that person who just received the eviction notice might be on the timeline of the person who just bought the brand new car, or giant gain. Yes, indeed. Thank you for coming on through again. You make me want to do a whole lot of shows, and that's what's going to happen. But not everybody's going to feel good for you when you put up a selfie depicting happiness, depicting achievement, depicting a new level, because not everybody is doing as good. Now, that's life. We know that. And if you're mature enough and you're going through stuff, you say to yourself, listen, more power to you. I'm happy for you. I got my own things I'm going through now, but you're inspiring me to do better. That's the normal way to deal with this type of situation. But we don't have too many people who think like that, you see? And this is when things can become toxic, right? Because there are a lot of people out here who have the Colgate smile, but they don't have a good feeling for you, you see? And to compare it or to bring it up to the level of a mass shooting, well, that's extreme. A person might be down and out for a long time, and they feel as though people on social media are teasing them. I've read articles about this and mental health specialists that interview people and their perception of the world, because lots of times we can even know somebody and not really understand what their perception of the world is. It's not always the way you see it. It's not always the way this young lady who just bought the brand new car or got the college degree or purchased a house, even though she has a mortgage because she has good credit, or met the dream man if she's a young lady, or the dream woman if it's a man, because men go through this thing too. And we have many people also who go out there and they may not be going through good times, but they still post selfies pretending to have this good life. Now, that's just going to make you feel worse. And you can't tell anyone what they need to do. But what I'm saying is that you don't know what's behind the selfie, right? That woman who said she just bought a brand new car, maybe she didn't. Maybe she went to the dealership and sat behind, had a key that looked like the right key, and projected this out to the world. Nobody gets online and says, you know what? I got $13 to last for the next 3 weeks. Xavier B, blessings to you back, brother. Thank you for being here. I love this group. It doesn't have to be 1 million people. I love it. and we all get along with each other. And I like the drama-free thing, and we can flow that way. And Xavier B, anytime you want to do that next interview again, we can do it, because I'm ready to go even deeper whenever you have the time. But yeah, so now we have a false existence, and we have real people going through real things. And lots of times they don't know how to handle it. So I did a little research about how people feel bad when they see positive, happy social media posts and they may not be in the right headspace. Yes, we all love each other. I love you back too, Giant Gain. So I put together a list, and I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to focus on the shootings and different things, but it's not just that extreme. It could be little things, right? We're going to get into that. We're going to flow. And I want to keep my focus. So just want to let you know that this is live. I am here. I'm hiding right now, but I'm here live and in living color. So when I'm reading off my notes, I feel kind of funny, so I cover myself up, right? So here we go. Okay. And I have links I'm going to put up on LANCESCURV X. We still have LANCESCURV.com, but everything will be migrated over to LANCESCURV X. Okay. It's more cost efficient for me, and it's more where it reacts with the internet better with the algorithms, right? So everything's going to go there, plus more things that I wouldn't usually put on any social media, and risque stuff and different stuff. And now that I'm at a certain phase right now, which is going to take the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm in it now, we're going to do more shows and have different types of content. And I always let you know from here what we'll be doing. But 2 days ago, Philadelphia saw another tragic shooting. This event is not isolated. It's part of a larger pattern of violence and despair across America. Over the past several years, mass shootings and suicides have become heartbreakingly common. Many people are asking, could the mental health crisis in the U.S. be getting worse? Statistically, yes, it is. And some experts say yes. For example, in 2023, nearly 47,000 people died by firearm in the U.S. Now, we can't, maybe they're still coming up with the numbers for 2024, but we're saying from now, the complete 2023 and 2024 is not any better, and 2025 is on its way to more people. But 47,000 people died by firearm in the U.S., and more than half of those deaths were suicides with guns. Suicides with guns. Well, we haven't gotten to the part where we're tied in with social media yet, but suicides now, where you pick up a firearm on your own, put it to your mouth, put it to your head, whatever way you do it, and kill yourself. Is the pressure coming because you don't have enough money to pay your bills? Possibly. But what if you don't have enough money to pay your bills or lost your job, and you're on social media seeing how rosy and happy everybody else is? Some people can't take that on a sustained level, not understanding if that projection on social media is real or not. We don't know. Some people are grinning and bearing it, eating dog food, but they're putting up that post on social media. They go to the mall, and I've seen it. I even held a camera for one dude in Florida. He just met this young lady walking through the parking lot, and I saw him call to her. She was very well built, very attractive. He called to her, said something to her. She wasn't with him. He had his phone. He saw me walking by. He stood next to this Lamborghini, a bright red Lamborghini with this hot chick, as most people would say, and asked me to take a picture. And I did. She left. I said, bro, is that your vehicle? Acting like I was interested. Oh, no, bro, that's not my vehicle. I said, that's your girlfriend, man? No. So you see, people go to great lengths to project success, project this. This guy probably got there on the bus. That was probably his only outfit. He's putting out at front, but there might be somebody out there who says, oh my God, I don't have it as good as him. I'm going to kill myself. And I'm not making fun of anybody. It's all about perception. You see what I mean? And even though gun homicides declined slightly in 2023, they're still held at near record levels. Meanwhile, mass shootings continue to happen. And on Wikipedia, from January to the end of June 2025, there were 211 mass shooting incidents, killing 216 people and injuring 887. Now, we don't want to hear statistics all day, but in this article I'm going to drop on LANCESCURV after the show is over, I have all the links to prove it. So this is why when people tell me, Lance, I can't wait to get out to America. I want to go to America so bad. Now it's luck of the draw, and that's not luck. But you got to understand, it's a different ball game out there, and they don't see that. They see the facade of everything being beautiful, all the nice areas of the city, but for some reason, when the algorithms bring up homelessness, the drug addiction, the crime, they just want to ignore that. Beverly Scott, welcome on in. Yes, let me see what you said right here. Beverly, yes. We definitely have to talk. You're going to live a long time. I've been thinking about you, but I don't know the difference in time. Oh, you mean as far as California and Ghana? It's 7 hours. We got to do something to get you on soon. Just let me know. 7 hours between, because I know people in California and it's always 7 hours. So right now for me, it's 9:12, but it should be 2:12 for you, if I'm correct. But welcome on in. And I think you told me you have a new number. What I want you to do is ring my phone again, either now or after the show. I'm not going to pick up because I'm on the live show. Just ring my phone so I have your number on the top of the list. But know that with the app that I use to take straight calls outside of WhatsApp to my phone, it doesn't show the number. Once I know your number and I program it in, I'll know who it is, because I get a lot of kooky calls all the time. So just ring my phone, whatever, and leave a voicemail and say, hey, this is Beverly, and I got you. Maybe we'll talk tonight because it's still early for you. But that's why I tell people who want to go there so bad, they think it's heaven. I say, listen, you have heaven right here, except the economy is not as good. You see what I mean? But those numbers are shocking. And I believe one reason for the crisis is social media. When people scroll through endless streams of smiling faces, expensive lifestyles, and perfect moments, it can make them feel worse about their own lives. This overload of happy, high-energy posts, even by people living normal lives, makes many feel left behind, lonely, and defeated. And as far as the mass shootings are concerned, I pulled up a list. And I wanted to see, this wasn't super, I wouldn't say super detailed. I got a list of 10. I'm going to add that onto the post that goes along with the show on LANCESCURV X, and make sure to, and I should have put it up there, and I didn't put it up there, but before the show is over, I will put it at the top. But you see it there under my chin on the banner, LANCESCURVX.com. Go there. It's free to subscribe. There's a pay side, but everybody gets everything. The pay side is a matter of support, right? But you don't have to, because I know everybody don't have it like that. Okay? But July 7th, 2025, South Philadelphia, 3 killed, 10 injured. Multiple gunmen opened fire randomly at a late night gathering, aged 15 to 24. Among the dead was 24-year-old. We're not going to get into those details. July 5th, 2025, in Indianapolis, Indiana, 2 teenagers killed, 5 injured. July 2nd, 2025, Chicago, Illinois. Now, why doesn't it shock me about Chicago with the reputation it has, right? 4 killed, 14 injured. Drive-by shooting at a rapper's album release party in River North. Crazy. A rapper's, I would never. I'm sorry. This modern day foolishness? No. July 2nd, 2025, Savannah, Georgia, 3 injured, life-threatening. Shooting at a mall around 5:41 p.m. SWAT evacuated the area. Here's another one. I don't know why they jumped back to April and then come back to June, but I'll say the April one, right? April 17th, Tallahassee, Florida. FSU campus, 2 killed, 6 injured. April 8th, 2025, my birthday, Spotsylvania County, Virginia, 3 killed, 3 injured. February 22nd, 2025, Shiloh, Pennsylvania, 1 police officer and shooter killed, 6 others injured. June 22nd, 2025, Royal Oak Township, Michigan, 1 killed, 3 injured. Now there's 2 more on the list, but you get the picture. And those are what's considered mass shootings, which I think it has to be 3 or more. I'm not sure it's 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever, but one-on-one, there's more than that. People getting shot in the ankle, people getting held up, shot in the shoulder. There's too much of that going on with the gun violence in America. See, people will say, well, it's not the gun, it's the person. But look how many people are on edge. You see what I mean? You can't have those 2 things together and go back on social media and feel bad about your life and be pissed off at somebody and get pushed to the edge. I don't know about you, but I have never been pushed to the edge to do something like that. Although I have been pushed to the edge when somebody tries to make me react to something that they throw at me. But I've got so much control with that. You see, when I was a young teenager, 12, 13 years old, even before, if somebody provoked me, they got it. And I don't mean just that I was sensitive and would react. They really, really pushed me with somebody and say, listen, man, but when I did what I did, I had the last word. When I did what I did, I had the last word. I'll never forget this guy named Frankie. A nerdy, well, he wasn't a nerd. He wasn't smart. He was a weird white dude who had a thing for me. I used to beat him in gym class and not beat him physically, but I was pretty good at gym. I was always physical. And he was envious of that. And I was smart. So he would do things like act like he's picking his nose. And I look over at him and he's got this middle finger up. He'd come by lunchtime, I eat my food. He'd lean over my shoulder and sneeze all in my food. Come on now. Say little things, walking past me, whatever, try to trip me a couple times. I'm sitting here taking all of this stuff. And so one day the bell rang for us to change classes. No, it was the end of the day. And I acted like I was taking my time, filling up my book bag. And we had these closets that you had to step inside. They had sliding wooden doors and you could hang your clothes in. You'd have to go inside or you can stand outside if your coat was close by. But I waited. He waited. He wasn't waiting for me, but he was taking his time. And I'm looking at him like, I had it up to here with him. The teacher left, which she shouldn't have left, but she left. And I stood up like I'm getting ready to walk behind her. And he was still bending over, messing around in his bag. So he had said something stupid to me before. And I had complained and told the teacher, and she didn't do nothing to stop Frank from annoying me. I grabbed that little bugger and I stood him up and I threw him in the closet and commenced to beat his behind and left him in there. He was crying. And then I closed the doors and left. I got that streak in me, but I would never, ever pick up a gun to go do anything to anybody like that. If I have a gun, it's for the ultimate protection, but it's not to go out and do anything because I have too much confidence in my physicality. I'm not Superman, but also remember that people don't fight fair. You see what I mean? But it's not all black and white. Social media can also connect people in need with help. Some research shows teenagers from troubled families use it to find support. Still, the algorithms tend to trigger negative feedback loops. One study showed that after mass shootings, people talk more about mental health on Twitter, and positivity in those messages declined. Worse yet, another 2015 study found that school shootings might follow surges in social media chatter, suggesting a copycat effect. You see, exposure to gun violence damages mental health deeply. After mass shootings, survivors and even witnesses often suffer. About 28% of survivors develop PTSD, with many experiencing depression, anxiety, or panic. A Rutgers study found that nearly 40% of people have heard gunshots multiple times. That's my life. I didn't grow up in the hood, but you're laying in the bed into the distance. I grew up near a hood. And those with higher exposure to gun violence showed more signs of depression, suicidal thoughts, and increased mental health needs. You know why? Because that's real. Yeah. And Giant Gaines says, boy, I can relate to that. Just don't bother me. Exactly. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. Not that I want to, manifest that, but, I don't know. It's like the jungle, like I said yesterday. People look at me and it's not like I'm 6'5" and 400 pounds, but they know. It's like, listen, don't even try it. Don't even try it, because I'm going to go 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds on you. I don't want to be bothered. I'm in the old man phase right now, although I have the benefits of taking care of myself. So I'm not an old man in actuality, but technically on paper, I can play that right now. And I'm 62, man. I'm retired. I can't watch me up in court play that role. Something happens. I'm not out here like Superman no more. No way. Never did anyway. I minded my business. But I will tell you that when it's a reality for you, and like I said, growing up in Richmond Hill, Queens, which is on the edge of Jamaica, Queens, which I considered where I live, Jamaica, Queens. When the crack epidemic came around and people were declining because of the drug use, and you had the drug dealers and you had the drug wars and different things. And eventually it did creep into my neighborhood, like I was at the edge of it. And it affected a lot of people, even my brother who was on crack, still on drugs, right? And every family was touched, not just because of the drug thing, but the crime that came along with it. And it festered and festered and festered. And most people have a story to tell about that, whether it's a family member or themselves. Many people down through the years, online and on the show, privately have shared things with me that I will not reveal because that's their private business, but it let me know what people are going through overall. Now you bring in social media. So now we're so preoccupied with what other people are doing. And I'm not saying anybody here, because it is here in a normal part of our lives now. Everybody uses it. Even if you're not on Facebook, or you may watch YouTube for some advice on how to fix a kitchen cabinet or whatever. So I can't say it's all bad. But when your mind is not all the way right and you're receiving these visuals with no filter to say, hey, I may be going through something rough right now. Good for the people who have it good right now. They probably went through some bad times too. We all go through bad times relatively. Your bad may not be as bad as my bad. My bad might be worse. But maybe you have less of a tolerance for bad. So your bad that I might consider to be lighter is worse for you because I have a heavier tolerance. I'm very disciplined. I have gone through a lot of sugar honey iced tea that I know a lot of other people couldn't take. And I get off on that. I don't mean it in a way where I enjoy it, but I get off on that because I say, okay, this is a challenge. This is what I got to do. Boom. Here's my focus. My dear life coach, Custom Model, sent me something today. And it was about focus. It was about people who are successful and people who have that great sense of focus. And it was about Steve Jobs. And it was a gentleman who worked with Steve Jobs from the very beginning. And he basically said, Steve Jobs, I got to say, he was a terrible guy. He said, Steve Jobs is a terrible guy, but you know what? I took something from him. And even though he was an a-hole, and he said it to his face, man, I think you're an a-hole. And Steve Jobs was like, I don't care about what anybody else thinks. I don't care what they think. Those who work up under me, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. It's what I want. It's what I think. Now, maybe that might be going a little too far, but he was extreme, but we can still extract some things from him that keep us focused. And what this gentleman, I'm trying to drop the link on LANCESCURV on this article, but he basically said Steve Jobs looked at it this way with focus. You got 100% of the things you have to do. And the top 3 things that must be done within the next 18 hours, those are the things you focus on doing relentlessly. Hearing this up my game, which I'm like this, but the way he explained it made me feel like, whoa. Now, out of the top 10 things that must be done, there are 3 or 2 or 4 that you have to do in the next 18 hours. Most people get this wrong. They get confused. Oh, I got 10 things to do. What, should I do this or should I do that? No. The things you have to do, he said, are the signals. That's what he called it. The other things are just noise, right? Now, these people like this on that level, we're not saying they're good or bad, but they're driven over and above most people. And that drive is rare. And it's hard to attain that. You can get that, but everybody can learn from that. And I'll get back on the topic. But he said, anything else is noise. This phone call from this person, this text message, which back then when he started, there wasn't any text messaging. But we'll get those things done, but those things that must be done today, and nothing else gets your focus. The most important things that he calls the signal things, out of the 10 things, we all have things looming over us. We're not thinking about what has to be done next month. And that's what do we have to do today? Like me, I gotta not clean the table. The table's clean, but I got a audio module here that doesn't need to be here. I got a camera ring, the twisted camera, audio, wireless. So I got stuff to wires that after the show, I have to do that. Before I go to bed, I have to earn my sleep. Now, well, I'm gonna go to bed and wake up tomorrow. No. You know what I mean? So if most of us had that kind of focus from within, a lot of the unnecessary things that affect us won't bother us as much. What's the other analogy that I can use? And I always used to wonder this when I was a kid. I'm riding with my father, probably coming from Manhattan to Queens after a job or something. And I see a motorcycle go by. And it's starting to rain, but it's not raining heavy yet. It's just drizzling because, you see the windshield wipers and you see the little bit of rain hitting. But then all of a sudden it starts hitting more. And so we're riding parallel with this guy on the motorcycle, and he has the windshield up in front, but there's nothing on top of him, right? Well, this is the way I saw it. I always used to see things when I was a kid, my weird analogies. Even from then, I always had strange analogies. That's how my brain is wired. I hope I never lose that. So the rain came down heavy, and I'm looking at the windshield, and my father has it on the top. And as soon as it wipes, it gets wet again because the rain was coming down so fast. Well, guess what? We're going at a good speed now. We're on the highway, 60 miles an hour, whatever have you. And the motorcycle dude is riding, and he ain't getting wet. I'm looking, this guy's not getting wet. How's this happening? Well, he's moving so fast that the windshield is catching the rain that's supposed to hit him, and what's coming down behind it is not touching him because he's moving fast or faster, right? If he had to stop, if we were on the street and had to stop for a red light, that doesn't work anymore because he's not moving. So everything that comes straight down is going to hit him. So in my twisted mind, I'm like, every time I see a motorcycle going by in the rain and he's not getting wet, now the ones that don't have that windshield, little windshield, they're going to get wet. They're going to get hit all in the face with water. So I thought to myself, as long as I keep myself busy and as long as I keep myself moving, a lot of the other things around me won't be able to touch me because I'm going at such a good speed. So if you keep your focus and you keep your mind busy with something to do, you don't have time to be jealous of somebody or feel bad when somebody portrays this happiness that might as well almost be fake. It's a competition to show this pseudo reality. And this is not with everybody. I find that you have the social media pages that don't have much people, and it's a family situation and friends. Oh, I have 46 friends or whatever, and they know everybody on those pages. Okay, like me, for example, I might have spoken to somebody one time on the phone or in a text message, but they're on my Facebook, but I may not really know them. So I've had huge numbers over the years, and I've started new Facebook pages over and killed some other ones because you got stalkers and trolls and stuff, but you don't know everybody there. So this is what has kept me from, and I really don't care to be envious of anybody anyway. I like my father told me years ago, envy is the flip side of motivation. If you're motivated for something and you're truly focused and your mind is on this thing, you wake up, you might lay there a little longer, but you're like, okay, I got to do this today. I want to do this today. Before I go to sleep, I got to be motivated. I got all the time in the world. I don't have time for the noise. Like Bill, I was going to say Bill Gates. Why am I saying Bill Gates? Yeah, what's his name that I just brought up? What is his name? I forgot it that quick. But noise and signal. Signal is what's important, and noise is flotsam and jetsam until you get a chance to do it, but it's not as important as what you have to deal with right now. It's that bit of rain that falls off. You need that windshield there to keep you focused and keep the rain off you, to keep you from being distracted. If you're scrolling all day on social media, now, if you don't have goals, that's cool. If you don't have things that you're going after, well, that's cool. You want to do that, and you can take a day and do that. But realize how much of our time has gone away, and we're looking at everybody else, and we make ourselves feel bad because we're not. I don't mean you have to be a person, I'm going to have this multi-million-dollar business by the end of the year. It's cool to work a job. It's cool, pay your bills and want to chill if that's what you want to do. But don't be mad when somebody else is doing the damn thing and you're not making the effort. And I find lots of times, Steve Jobs, right? It's been a long day for me, brother. I read half a book today in transit, and I treated myself to a nice little meal when I was out there, and I was like, I was supposed to do this big shopping. My spirit told me, do the shopping tomorrow or the day after. Just go home. I said, okay, I'm going to go home. And I was out there early, got all my stuff done early, and I had more time. I could have went to the beach. Something said, go home. And when I got home, I fell out for a few hours. And every now and then I'm looking at the clock because I don't want to oversleep and miss this. And I'm still, when you wake up and you slept already, but I can fall asleep right now if I went back to bed. You know what I mean? And I don't mind that. I give myself to nature for the next 2 days. I'll still do the shows and stuff like that. But where was I with my notes? I don't want to be too technical. I'll even pass that by. That'll be in the article for you to look at. You go to LANCESCURV X, we'll do it that way. But here's something that I wrote. I said, living in Ghana, especially in places with fewer material comforts, meaning up in the mountains, because down in the city, it's like New York City, right? Life can still feel full and meaningful. People, no struggle, yes, but everyday joys and deep community ties outweigh the hardships. I'm going to say that again. People here up in the mountains that may not have a lot of money or may not have training and education, and life is still as it was maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago up in the mountains. You got brand new cars, nice trucks that drive through, people who live a certain way, but the people who are in the villages who, it's like the land that time forgot. I'm not putting them down. It's just a simple way of living. People know struggle, yes, but everyday joys and deep community ties outweigh the hardships. Look, I see it every day. Right off of the roads and up here in the mountains, you can see little makeshift, not with ultra amenities. You can see little things. People don't have much money. They may have a tank with water in it, and that's where they take their shower, or by the stream. More away from, the flashy lights and the fancy hotels and all this stuff. There are people who live very humble. They go out and get their food straight from the ground. They may go to the market and sell some of those things and make money. They may not have much money, but what they have is a simple life. And a lot of them are unaware of the modern living that people have in America and the thing. And that's the standard in America. Not everywhere, but pretty much. If your lights go out, you piss like, what the hell? Well, I have power outages, little blinkages all the time until I get my solar power system and a new generator, right? But I have power. Yeah, well, I pay for electricity and I have the electric company, but up here, there's so many little things going on. Up in the mountains, there are a lot of thunderstorms and the lightning comes around and they want to chop that down. So I know when a storm is coming, I say, uh-oh, lights went out. And all of a sudden you hear the thunder coming. Because up here, I'm up in where the lightning is. Lightning doesn't have to drop up here. I'm up in it. And I've heard it sometimes. Click, click. It doesn't even make the loud noise. It just click and then things go out. So I have to deal with that. But I'm cool with that because I can sleep deeper. The crime up here is next to nothing. Petty things happen, yes. You can relax more. When I go by and take a walk down through the mountains, I may have to walk miles before I get to the next area where you have a little settlement. You walk by, you look at the people, they wave at you, they smile. You see the little babies out there, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years old. They're getting a wash down from their mother. They're running around naked, laughing at each other. They're naked. So what? They're little babies. You may see some who are a little older. They may have a ball, a little ball. They're kicking around. And the ball needs to be inflated, and it's half inflated, and they're still kicking it, and they're still having a good time. See, that true joy is what I derive a lot of pleasure from. To know that there are people who don't need the latest phone, who don't need the latest car, who don't need the latest gadget, or have to always feel they are moving somewhere to a better neighborhood. And most of the time they're miserable because it's pressure for that. And are you really doing it for yourself? And if you are doing it for yourself, I'm not mad at you if you want to do this. That's what people don't understand about me. I'm not envious of anybody who wants to have more material items, right? For me personally, I found out as long as I'm happy with what I have, there are nice things I want to get, but until I get those things, I'm going to be balanced and happy and not pissed off at the world to want to pick up a gun and go shoot up a mall because I think everybody else is having a better time than me. Because I happen to know people back home in America. Yes, America's still my home and Ghana's still my home, right? That's my root. And I know many, they tell me things and share things. There's some who are doing good. There's some who are barely holding on. And I notice that people that I know, a lot of them, they're barely holding on, but they want to keep that facade up. But then again, I'm not going to want to tell my business anyway. You don't have to do that. But they still work at putting that facade up, the selfie smile. It doesn't mean you're going to sit here and think negative and cut off from the world. I understand that. I'm one who knows about positive thinking. I'm not going to let negative thoughts eat me up. And especially to do something to somebody. Listen, I will do you. If you come for me, I'm going to get you first. If you get me first, I'm still going to get you unless you wipe me off the face of the earth. But I don't move that way. I'd rather help you. Look, I'm not even patting myself on the back, but just to show how doing something simple for somebody can make you feel good. I wanted to get a little slice of vegan pizza today after I went to my appointment. And so I was down in Accra and I took one of the vans, and there's about 3 miles I had to walk up this road. Nice shops and everything. It's an area called East Legon, very nice area, right? So I went to the place and the pizza was 150 CDs. That if you go with the rate of $1 for 10, $1 for 10 CDs, that would be $15 for the pizza. But it had the vegan cheese. It was all clean, right? Even though I'm not a strict vegan no more, I still eat that way to keep it clean from all the other residues, right? So the gentleman told me, he said, well, listen, you're getting this big old pizza. We have a special today. I said, what's that? He said, well, I'll give you another pizza just like this for another 30 CDs. In my eyes, I'm 30 CDs for another pizza like this? Whoa, I want that. So I sat there and I had my aloe vera juice. And this is connected to a huge supermarket called Melcom. Melcom is like a high-end supermarket. A beautiful supermarket. So I'm eating it and eating it. I got the other pizza sitting next to me, and I'm like, I don't really want this pizza. I don't want to sit here holding up some pizza going all the way home up in the mountains. And I didn't think it would be good for me to eat another one. Even if it was in 2 days. I treat myself to something every few weeks or whatever, but I don't want this hanging in my face. I can't let it store for long. I could freeze it, but I don't want this thing. I said, okay, who can I bless this with? It's not always about taking. Sometimes you want to give. And even that will relieve the stress of going through hard times, even if you don't have much to give. Sweet D, I see you. Thank you for being here, my dear sister. That's right. Giant Gain says, I can make eye contact with one who looks like me and the reception is non-existent. Exactly. You have to know how to distance yourself and keep yourself in a certain space. So I took an Uber to where I had to go to get back to the van to get up in here in the mountains, right? Because I'm far away from the city. And it hit me. There's a woman who sells stuff on the side of the street. Like they have the market, they have the fruits, the mangoes, the onions, the watermelons, vegetables, sell shoes, they'll throw Crocs, and there's all kind of things there. And she's always been helpful to me because when I go down to that area where you can get real good bargains, they have another supermarket there. I would have bags of stuff. And on my last run, I would walk up 1.5 miles to the last supermarket, right? I don't want to carry those things all the way up. So me and her are cool because the other lady that was there that I used to speak to, she recently died. So I started talking to the other lady while I was talking to the original lady. So me and her are cool. So she says, listen, you don't have to walk all the way with that stuff. You can put it here. I said, is it okay if I leave it here? He said, no, I'll watch it for you. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Now I'm walking. I don't have to carry the bags. The van is right there when I want to go back up. So I said, you know what? Let me get this lady a big pizza too. I can't lie. I was a hog today. So when she saw me coming out of the Uber, I would usually go to her and speak for a little while, but the van was almost full and I wanted to give her the pizza and the drink and I wanted to go use the bathroom and where the bathroom was. So she says, oh my God. I said, here, this is for you. This is for me? Oh my God. I was so hungry. I said, this is for you. It was still warm and everything. I gave her the drink. I said, listen, I drank a little bit of this drink. Not out of the bottle, but I put, if you want it, you get, oh yes, please, please. So when the other ladies came and they shared it, they kept thanking me. But that made me feel good. You know what I mean? Some people, I'm not giving that to nobody, but it has to hit you right. So that's a way of me relieving any stress that I may feel, which as soon as stress comes, and I don't call it stress because I beat stresses behind all the time. It'll creep up with a little tension or whatever have you. But like a car with a dashboard, you have odometers and different meters. I always try to keep in touch with who I am. You see what I mean? And when you lose that, that's when bad things can happen. You know, when you start to go off on people and you may say something to somebody, you have to go back and say, man, I didn't really mean to say that. You can come back from that, but doing something drastic, no way, right? Like I said, people know struggle up here, but everyday joys and community ties outweigh the hardships. Contrast that with the US overall, where many are disconnected. We've got nicer homes, new cars, and endless online validation, or the lack of it. And yet, more anger, loneliness, mental breakdowns. In Ghana, where I live, a lack of possessions doesn't seem to cause this despair. In America, possessions alone don't buy happiness, especially when what we see online looks better than anything we own. When does it end? And this isn't to say mental health issues don't exist in Ghana. They do. They have mental health institutions here. You have people who have mental breakdowns, but the daily stress of modern technology and perfected lives online seems to magnify suffering in the US. Many people are living in a constant spotlight, feeling perpetually inadequate. And it's like the goalposts are moved. You see what I mean? Because you may get a rush from something that you post, whether it's fake or real. And if you're living for that, the feeling doesn't last too long. It's a double-edged sword, social media. And on one side, social media connects people with mental health help, hotlines, communities, and therapy. On the other hand, it amplifies mental health risks. And they had a 2024 supercomputer study found over 500,000 young adults browsing suicide-related content, and that's serious. Apps and platforms often push content that keeps users engaged. That's the job of social media, to keep you stuck on it. Sad or angry posts get more attention and keep people scrolling. This can deepen feelings of loneliness and self-worthlessness, especially for people already struggling. Even well-intended posts can harm. Seeing everyone else in their highlight reel can make people with mental health issues feel even more alone. Behind every happy photo, people struggle, but we only see smiles and not struggles. You see what I mean? Mass shootings continue, harming communities and increasing trauma across the country. Social media plays a big role. It's worse than ever before. When people see one perfect post after another, it can make them feel worthless. Not because their lives lack value, but because they are trapped in a constant comparison game. They aren't flawed. The digital world is. You're not imperfect. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has things that they don't like about themselves. Everybody knows there's things they got to work on. But when you look at stuff on social media with the airbrush stuff, with the things that make you look slimmer and the filters, look, there's somebody who lives around here. And she has beautiful black skin, beautiful dark brown skin. But on social media, she looks like she needs sun. So this tells me she has a real hang up with her skin. Something. We need to wake up. This isn't about banning social media. It's about using it responsibly. Kids need real connection, not likes. Adults need mental health support, not just ads and highlights. Communities have to talk honestly about feelings, not post happiness only. See, could you imagine? Look at it, how tough things are. I'm not going to say tough, but it's difficult when you're going through adolescence. You know? That's right, Giant Game. We'll put it up there. Lack of possession versus lack of human contact. And yes, you spelled human correctly. What do they mean by that? It says no E in there. Yes, over here, it's an E in there because we're talking about us. But it's tough enough. And, you know, we may not remember, but when you're going through adolescence and you're coming from a child to adult, and you're still not an adult when you get through adolescence, it's like becoming a driver for the first time. You get your license, but that doesn't mean you know how to drive as good as you are going to drive when you've been driving for 10 years. That's the beginning. So if you feel, oh, my stomach is a little too big, oh, my legs are still, they're a little skinny, oh, my butt is flat, you know, I mean, that's what women think. Hopefully it's the women. You got some dudes out there that think, not knocking nobody, right? But that's what it is. And then you have social media that comes out and everything is perfect. And the adolescents that are going through things, they can hide their stuff. You see what I mean? And that's not good. And I tell you, there's another thing booming right now with those who are 13, 14, 15, and maybe you don't notice it, but what it is that young men, young women, 12, 13, 14, there's a steroid epidemic right now that's happening in the world. Steroid epidemic, right? And you have 14-year-old guys, 15-year-old guys taking massive amounts of steroids. because the pressure to look good. And they post these pictures on Instagram and on Facebook, but it's mainly an Instagram thing. Instagram with teenagers can be deadly. And so they're pumping themselves up, messing their body up, getting these hormones too early, taking growth hormone, STH. What's the other thing there? There's another thing. There's another drug. I was talking about it to somebody. I follow these things. I never use drugs, but I followed what these guys do. And they're messing themselves up. And some of them are suicidal. One guy killed himself recently. You know, the pressure is too much because whatever you make yourself become and you look like this online, there's always somebody who looks even better. And so everybody gets into the race. And now for a little, and then really, I've never taken drugs. But what I hear from all the guys that I've ever known, I've known a lot, hundreds of guys who are on drugs in the gym, different gyms. That thing makes you feel, as a man, you get this drive. I mean, if you can remember when you were 18, 19 years old, 17 years old, you wanted to run. You had this energy. You felt strong. I know naturally I did. Still do, but not like that. Because you got all of this testosterone raging through your system. And of course, I don't want to say the word horny, but that's part of the aggression. You see this woman, you see this young girl, you want to talk to her, you want to do things with her, you want to be manly, you want to be, and when you take these drugs, these steroids, as a grown man, because after a while, your level of testosterone diminishes. In your 30s, it goes down. In your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, you know, I think I had a lot of it naturally because I'm still not as much though. But they can become depressed when it goes down and they start taking more. And you have guys who are addicted to this thing their whole life. I'm not going to get into a long science lesson because we can do that right now. But everybody wants this feeling. You're not going to always be on top mentally, physically, and spiritually. Life is a journey. We're not perfect. We have flaws. So understand that. Some people spend all their time hiding the things that they feel need improvement instead of accepting and say, listen, I know, I got these pimples on my face. I know my gut's a little fat. I know whatever, right? But the bottom, accept it and work on it. But some people don't work on it and they work hard to hide it, but never improving it. So now to the world, it looks good. And with a lot of young ladies who are taking steroids also, they're in the gym. A lot of them take this drug called Anavar. A lot of women take low dosages of that. So when you see the female competitors, and some take high dosages, but even the bikini models in bodybuilding shows, the bikini models, those skinny girls, and wearing a bikini, they take Anavar to harden up. Even they are on steroids more than what a man can naturally produce. That's just how bad it is. So when you have a child who's starting to go to the gym, it's a natural sense of insecurity. That's good, but don't let it get overboard and watch them. Because it's more permissive these days to get on a certain substance, and then now Instagram is there and your body looking good but that's not going to last forever. I wish I had the body I had 40 years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years ago. I wish, but it's okay. I got more wisdom. I understand what that is. And I did the damn thing. So it's time for somebody else to take the podium and get the spotlight. Don't be bitter at anybody who's doing the damn thing and maybe a few years went by, because there's always something that you can improve in. And how wonderful it is to be able to share your wisdom and your knowledge with somebody who may be younger, who may need it. Then you're valuable again. But too many of us be in the spotlight and how long is that going to last? If you get to live till 90 years old, is your penis going to be rock hard? You better be glad that you can use it just to urinate, brother. doesn't mean that we can't keep ourselves up, but we have to evolve. We have to take flight. I'm not going to get into that one again. You all know my analogy with that. And many of us on the road to not taking flight. And when we see each other with the fake imagery, and some of it is real, but we've all become our own brand, those who dare to take a leap into the social media facade game. It's a game. I'm going to lighten my skin, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to add this on, because they got things with Photoshop, man. You could be heavy and push your gut in and do this and do that. You know how to check for that. When you see something that looks fake like that, and you know this person is 300 pounds and they look like they're 180, look in the background, because everything has to move. And so things that should be straight, like a table behind them, might be twisted up. It's all kind of tricks. All for what? Learn the real lessons. Make yourself better. Share your wisdom. Enjoy life. When I was walking up the hill today in this particular area, my legs, I was like, man, I haven't been getting the leg workouts and stuff like that. Overall, I said, I'm feeling this, but I'm glad to feel it. My body's telling me, hey, you need to pick up and do more, do better. I'm not going to be mad at the person who runs by me the way I used to run. My legs, when I was young, was very strong. That was one of my best parts. But it's flesh. Attach yourself to your wisdom. You can never go wrong with that, because that's what truly elevates you. And I know I started out with one topic and I'm all over the place with this, but there's some things I'm going to do tonight. I might do another recording. I feel the pull to go lay down, but I'll be in tomorrow and I'm going to do something as soon as I wake up, or a few hours. I'll put in 2 good shows or 3 good shows tomorrow. So this won't be as long as the other ones, but there's always like a fighter who, instead of waiting for the big punch, you always throw that jab, throw that jab, throw that jab, keep it in his face, boom, boom, and sets it up, pow, for the next blow. So they're all not going to be super long. But it's always an honor and pleasure to be here with you. And like I said, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I got some things I might want to talk about. And like I said, if you have anything that you'd like to speak about or come on in, then fine. I'm down for it. As long as it's something relevant, as long as we're not getting up here with some, Negro, like Chris Rock said, he says, I love black people, but I hate niggas. I'm not doing the nigga business no more. I refer to them and use them as example of what not to be, but I'm not getting down like that. It's all about the elevation, y'all. Thank you so much. If you want to come in, I'll wait for a minute. The link is there if you want to come in and say something. If not, that's cool. I'm here. And I think the bed's calling me. I think I need to deal with that, even though right now it's still early, 9:58, what you said, Giant Game? We're having a Tyson night. A Mike Tyson night. I think it's cool when LANCESCURV gets on and talks this stuff from back in the day, because, we're only 3 years apart, and, we have a lot of similarities. I'm going to head on out. I'm going to wind down and get some sleep. Just naturally go into these balconies and sleep. There's not too many mosquitoes out tonight. And where's my stuff? I got this mosquito lotion, this natural stuff that's absolutely beautiful, right? So let me run, and we will talk tomorrow. Comment, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Make sure to go to LANCESCURV X, because soon I'm going to put the article up that I derived my notes and stuff from, here. Take care, y'all. Much love. Always. Be back tomorrow. Look for the notification.